step is to.
Okay, so when you hire for a position, would you have a plan B, for example? Would you hire more? Just from your personal experience, when you hire for a position, would you consider a few candidates? How many candidates would you consider?
Yeah, we'll usually interview 2 to 3. Now, there are certain situations like starting outsource school. We had one candidate who was really good. We weren't going to hire a backup. And if she failed, like it wasn't that big of a deal. We're a startup. We'll just hire another VA. Like we'd figure that out in a week or two. Now, with FreeUp around year 3, we were really short on customer service reps. FreeUp was growing really quickly. And so we needed to hire 5 customer service reps. Now, we're pretty good at hiring, but the chances of us going 5 for 5 isn't as high as maybe you would think. So with that, we want to be smart about it because customer service is one of the hardest things to train for. It takes the longest. So if we hire 5 customer service reps and it takes us 2 months to train them and 2 of them don't work out, then we're short 2 customer service reps and we have to spend another 2 months training them. So that kills like 4 months of time. So what we did was we hired 7. We assumed that at least 2 wouldn't work out. And if all 7 worked out, that's a really good problem to have. We were a big enough business where we could just take the other 2 customer service reps and move them to another team. And that's actually what ended up happening. We liked all 7 of them, but we had that backup plan just in case. And once everyone was trained, we just reassigned 2 of their jobs to another team and it ended up working well. So there's a time and a place to have those backups to make that extra hire. And there's a time and a place where you're a startup, you can't afford it, where it doesn't necessarily make sense to do it.
Gotcha. So give me an example. In your onboarding for FreeUp, what kind of how long does it take to onboard the person, and what kind of parts do you have in onboarding? If you could uncover that a bit.
Yeah, so we teach our SICK method, which is SICC. So it's schedule, issues, communication, and culture. So what most entrepreneurs do is they say, Jane, that was a great interview. I want to hire you for $5 an hour. Let's start on Monday. What we teach people to do is, Jane, that was a great interview. I want to hire you for $5 an hour. First, let's make sure you're really good with $5 an hour, because who knows, maybe her other client's paying her 10, maybe she got another job offer. Then if she is good, I'm going to go through our bonus and raise program, because if she's making 5 now and she thinks she's going to be making 10 by the end of the year, but I'm only going to give her a 50-cent raise every single year, that might not blow up on me right now, but in a year, that's going to cause a lot of issues. So I want to get up front with that. Then I go through the SICK method. So schedule, I go through my schedule, make sure she's good with it. I want to know what other clients do you have? What's the schedule for those other clients? I want to know how many total hours she's working, what other commitments she has. For issues, I'm going to go through personal, weather, computer, internet, and power issues. Those are the 5 most common issues people have. I'm going to go through how often you have those issues. What is the backup plan for each issue? Because I don't want to work with a VA who's 1 issue away from not being able to work for a month. Then I go through how you're going to communicate those issues. Then for communication, so it's a schedule, issue, communication, culture. I go through the channels I use. If I'm going to use the software that monitors screens, I'm going to tell them that right there. And I'm going to make sure they know how we communicate, what's expected. And then I go through culture, what my culture is, and I set the mentality that I don't work with people, no matter how talented they are, if they're not a good culture fit. So this is a 20 to 30 minute conversation. It's not a 5-hour conversation, but it's the best 20 to 30 minute investment you can make, because at the end, I'm going to let them ask questions and I'm going to give them a chance to back out. And I would much rather they back out if they're not a good fit or my expectations are too high, or the expectations are just not aligned, then for me to figure out it's a bad fit in 2 months. And because we teach people to get all this in writing, if they do cause issues down the line, you can take a step back and hold them to those expectations. And you're not trying to remember a phone call from 3 months ago or a topic you didn't cover. You've gone through everything up front. And that is the one thing that we're really proud of, is our SICK method, because it saves entrepreneurs so much time down the line.
Gotcha. Okay, because what I've experienced is that you hire, let's say, a remote employee, and then you find out in a while that that person has 2, maybe 3 other jobs. I mean, I have no problem with that, but you have to communicate openly about that. Now, the question is, how do you motivate your employees? You said something about a bonus system. How would you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, bonuses is part of it. Money is part of it. So,
Okay.
first of all, it's paying people what they want to be paid. We don't lowball people. If my budget's $5 an hour and someone wants $10 an hour, I'm just going to go find someone else who's happy with $5 an hour. And with bonuses and raises, we give bonus every 6 months. We don't wait till the end of the year, and we use bonuses and one-on-one performance reviews to show appreciation, to give feedback, to thank them, and that's one part of it. But if you're only focused on money, there's going to be another client who can pay your VAs more money than you can. There's always going to be that. So money can't be the only thing. So we have what we call our BARF method, which is a funny acronym, but it stands for buying in, appreciation, building relationships, and creating family. So with buying in, we get them to understand the long-term picture, what our goals are, why we started this company, how they're a part of it, what their role is going to be in the future. For appreciation, we don't want to be that client who only talks to the VA when they mess up. We want to show appreciation, say, hey, great job. I appreciate that project, whatever it is. We talked about that on bonuses. Building a relationship is getting to know them on a personal level. So getting to know their family, their interests, sharing your interests, connecting with them on social media. Then creating that family. We hire a lot from the Philippines. People in the Philippines are all about family. They live in large family. Their church is their family. They have outside communities their family. We want the team to be a family. We don't want 5 VAs all doing their separate things in different directions. We want all the VAs to get to know each other, to meet up if they can, to get to know each other's families and all of that. Because when that other client comes along that will offer your VA more money, if you've gotten them to buy in, you've shown appreciation, you've built the relationship, and you've created a family, they're not going to want to leave, and they might give you a chance to up their pay or whatever it is, the reason that they're considering leaving.
Gotcha. We've hired we've actually hired from the Philippines, and we've seen the best outcome working with people specifically from the Philippines in comparison with India or I know Pakistan or any other countries, and it was great. Plus, we've had this mandatory flights where we would go and then actually see the people we work with, so we would actually be with a family, because for them it's really important that they actually can meet, and this kind of family environment is very important. You mentioned a lot of like processes and these like short terms. Do you have any other processes that you didn't mention today?
We have a whole library of processes. If you go to Outsource School, you can check out our shop. I mean, we have everything from how to have a VA book your meetings and your podcast for you, how to get on podcasts, lead generation, bookkeeping, customer service, which I think we talked about, partnerships, we talked about. I just created one for video editors. We have one out for graphic designers. We have one for communication, which you and I kind of talked about, but we have a whole playbook for how to communicate with the VA day to day, week to week, month to month. So we have so many systems. For our members, we're always adding new systems every single month that all our members get access to. And that we're just kind of building this library of systems and processes.
Nathan, I'm questioning. I'm wondering. Like you have all these processes. How do you? So these are like inbuilt processes. You have to do A, B, C, D, E, and then check, right? You've done the job. How do you handle inspiration or creativity? If like let's say someone decide, how do you decide on a new process? How do you update the processes?
So all the VAs know that just because I give them steps, it's not, this is how we do it because Nate said so. This is how we've come up with so far, and we want you to help make it better and improve it. And what we actually do is we give our VAs ownership of the SOPs. So they update it over time. They are in charge of coming up with creative ways to make it better. Because I'm always coming up with new ideas. If I come up with a new idea and I meet with them about it and we come up with a change, it's their job to update the SOP. So they own the SOPs at the end of the day. That helps them become leaders. It makes your business more sellable. So there is a creative aspect of it. And when we teach the SOPs to our members, although like bookkeeping applies to every single business, obviously my bookkeeping is going to be slightly different than yours. So you're going to have to take it and tweak it and make it your own. And you might even make it better than mine. I can only give you the foundation and I can only give you what I use. So you're 100% right. There is a creative part of being an entrepreneur, and that's the fun part. But the faster you get to that creative part is better. Like if I have to build everything from scratch, or I can take what someone else has already built, like our SOPs, and then make it better, that's going to save me a lot of time.
Somebody mentioned that, said discipline is the new creativity. So with a very good discipline, you can actually be creative. And I think in that very end, do you have do you have actually like a process for updating the SOPs, or you just like come up randomly with ideas and things like that?
I mean, we have meetings and stuff, and we have our software where as you record videos, you mark it step by step. So if you need to replace step 3, you don't have to hire a video editor. You don't have to refilm the whole thing. You can just sub out step 3 and you can give your VAs access to it. So that's actually why we built our software Simply SOP, to just make it very easy for you to update SOPs. And the meeting formats, which we teach you our process for weekly meetings, team leader meetings, performance reviews. Like that's where a lot of those ideas come up with, and where you collaborate to improve the SOPs.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So I've asked you all the questions I've had. At the end of every podcast, we have a list of blitz questions where you have to answer like really quick to my question. Okay. Cool. All right, Nate. What's your strongest skill?
Delegating, hiring, systems.
Gotcha. Football or basketball?
For people that haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, football or basketball?
Football. American football.
Yeah, that's what I meant, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, what book had the biggest impact on you and why?
Man, that's always changing. I just read a book called Never Split the Difference, which is all about negotiating and human psychology. And it kind of changed my whole mindset on business. And like right now, I'm reading a book called Buy Then Build, which is all about acquiring companies instead of starting them. So I'm always reading books that just kind of change my mentality and have a big impact on what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Cool. Who do you follow and why?
Right now, I'm following Roland Frazier. I'm actually in his Epic Accelerator. It's just a completely different way of doing business in terms of buying businesses instead of just starting everything from scratch. I'm 2 for 2 starting businesses. It's yet to be seen if Outsource School will be 3 for 3, but that doesn't mean every single business I start is going to be successful. And I think acquisitions is something that's not talked about enough, and something I'm really excited to learn about.
Cool. Roland Frazier. I'm actually on his homepage. Nice.
Yeah, I just did a podcast too. Great guy.
Okay, cool. Okay, last question. If you were starting right now and could do one thing differently, what would it be?
I'd focus on software early on. I think that's something we never did with Amazon. It took us a few years into free up, but software and automation helps so much with your business.
Okay, great to know that. Cool. That was it. Thank you so much. It was a great interview. I loved it.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks.